What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Tuesday, July 21st. Now, in today's dog video, we're going to be talking about something that recently was just announced by Litecoin. Now, Litecoin on their roadmap has something in the works for runes and ordinals, but more specifically dog. Now, in this announcement is an integration, bridging assets from Bitcoin, these are native assets on Bitcoin, to the Litecoin network using an EVM model. We're going to discuss what are the benefits to runes and dog from this. But not only that, we're going to also cover some coverage from Real Vision. Real Vision is basically a company created by Raoul Pal. And as you know, Raoul Pal used to work at Goldman Sachs. His name is also a prominent figure within the crypto space. So let's go ahead and dive deep into it. So smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Okay, so dog has not changed. It's still at 60 million market cap. And I will share you how many days we've actually been hovering around the 60 million market cap. It's actually quite long. And we've been here for a while, but before we talk about that, let's look at the 50-day moving average. 50-day moving average, again, dog price is still right below it. Eventually, it has to break out. We're just waiting for that. But I want you to also notice the buy and sell volume. Have you noticed that there's been a slight increase? So as you've noticed over the past, maybe 15 days, we've seen a lot of buying and selling. That's why there's a lot of activity occurring right now than what we saw back over here. So let's cover what's going on with BIP 110, because what's great about BIP 110 is that they've actually been promoting runes. The thing is, not many people within the Bitcoin space really talked about runes in 2025, but now everybody's talking about it in 2026 due to BIP 110. Now, you may know Canary Capital for finding certain meme coin ETFs, such as the Trump ETF, the Pepe coin ETF, and also one of the recent ones, memecoin ETF. And we really want Canary Capital to file a dog ETF since it's a Bitcoin native asset. So they're already talking about runes. As you can see down here below, runes is mentioned along with ordinals just due to the whole BIP 110 drama that's going on. Now, Michael Saylor actually had something to say that I think is absolutely favorable to the dog army, to runes, and for ordinals. He says, as of this morning, the impulse to change Bitcoin's rules merely to prevent others from using Bitcoin in ways you disapprove of, which is basically ordinals and runes, is of a status and alien to a community rooted in liberty, property rights, free markets, natural law, and the Austrian economics. BIP 110 would impose monetary purity by fiat. And that's the exact opposite of what Bitcoin is. And here's the thing. What's great about Michael Saylor is that he understands that Bitcoin is a base layer that basically anybody around the world can use. And that's what's made Bitcoin so amazing, other than just a store of value. But its technology in itself is a consensus model that really determines its future by the overall majority around people around the world. That's what consensus means. Not a minority group of purity or Bitcoin flatcoiners to determine where it's going to go. So you may know this guy, his name is Grass-Fed Bitcoin. Now, just looking at this guy gives me a whole bunch of red flags. Now, one of the things he actually said yesterday, and this is the guy that's for BIP 110, he says, I will never run a Bitcoin core node ever again. If that means I'm on some dead, isolated chain, which he's talking about BIP 110, possibly and most likely going to fork into a different chain, just like Bitcoin Cash, where people are talking about proof of work and changes, I don't care. He even mentions in this video that most of the BIP 110 people align with what he's saying. Again, this is a delusional person who's thinking delusional thoughts, creating his own imaginary world, and that's why he's isolated. Have you noticed that a lot of these different people block everybody? They block opposing opinions. So they're stuck in a bubble and they really don't want to see reality. Not even just the truth, because everybody has their own truth, but they can't accept the reality. And that's what they're doing, is just living in this isolated chain. And that's what's crazy, is that these people are ending up promoting runes. I love it. So here's a great example. Real Vision. You know Real Vision. Real Vision was created and founded by Raoul Pal, the person that used to work at Goldman Sachs, now is into the crypto world. Now, his company just said this member is watching dog. right next to NVIDIA. Now, they even tag Dog Bitcoin correctly, not just like tagging Dog, the ProShares DAO account. So this is absolutely amazing. And as you can see, it already has 10,000 views and a whole bunch of interactions. That just goes to show that the Dog Army is absolutely active. I love this. This is what's great about what BIP 110 has done. It's getting Wall Street to pay attention. This is the thing that I want to highlight in today's video, is that Litecoin, their LitVM, has a smart contract target around Q4 2026. And in there, they want to support trustless bridging with Litecoin native assets, including runes and ordinals. So these are Bitcoin native assets that are soon going to be available on Litecoin, meaning people can actually use the EVM model, which basically you can use different types of programs and lending platforms to use Dog. Because right now, if you don't know, Dog, runes, and basically Bitcoin native assets can only be sent, transferred, or held. That's kind of the limit around Bitcoin native assets. But I did want to dive deeper into this because I even asked ChatGPT to provide a little bit more context. So why does this matter that Litecoin with their LitVM model is going to bridge runes and Dog to their actual chain? So as I mentioned before, Dog and runes are primarily held, traded, or transferred. That's the limitation that we have right now. But LitVM proposes an EVM model, which is basically an Ethereum virtual machine, compatible layer 2 where runes could potentially be. So basically it could be used for DeFi collateral, supplied for liquidity pools, borrowed and lent, which there are some companies out there like Liquidity doing that on Bitcoin. But there's also an expansion of that into the EVM chain. So there's integrated into decentralized exchanges, which means that this could be available on Uniswap or any other native DEX on these other chains, even Litecoin for that matter. Then there's yield generating protocols. This will give runes additional utility beyond simply being transferable assets. Now, number 2, Ethereum developers gain access. Because LitVM is an EVM compatible model, Solidity developers can build with familiar tools like Hardhat, Foundry, and Remix instead of learning a new smart contract environment, which is the Bitcoin Layer 1 solutions. That lowers the barrier for applications that may choose to integrate Bitcoin native assets such as runes, such as Ordinals. Now, more developers generally means more demands for assets that users want to interact with. And most importantly, of course, there's more liquidity. When you can have liquidity from Ethereum and Litecoin, have access to a Bitcoin native asset like Dog, that's going to be really good because of this LitVM model. Now, Dog becoming available on these other chains does add new trading avenues, more liquidity sources, also additional holders outside the current Bitcoin ecosystem, new use cases inside decentralized application that expands the potential user base without changing the Dog token itself. Then it reinforces the Rune standard. As you know, Runes have only been around for 2 years, which by the way is very young compared to any token out there. Any new chain, 2 years is very young. And this is a lot of progress that's accelerated over those past 2 years. This is significant because it shows another major proof of work ecosystem recognizing Runes as an asset standard worth supporting. The more infrastructure that chooses to integrate Runes, the stronger the network effects become. Instead of existing only on Bitcoin, Runes could become the assets that interact across multiple ecosystems while remaining on Bitcoin native. And that's why it's really important to understand this. This is what's great about this. And again, this is targeted for Q4 2026. So we got a little bit of time, but this is just a little bit of a heads up of what's happening with the whole censorship debate and war with, spam, ordinals, runes, Bitcoin maxis, Bitcoin Core versus Bitcoin not. Runes and Dog are always at the forefront of every one of those conversations. Remember, Dog and Runes does not create UTXO bloating. That's ordinals and most likely BRC20 tokens. That's what's great about Runes is that it's quite opposite. It does not inflate the UTXO float within Bitcoin. There is no waste. Look at all the non-monetary transactions that occurred yesterday. 72.2%. That's mainly due to Runes, maybe possibly even alkanes for that matter. And from what I hear, alkanes, if they're minting Diesel, Diesel's also minting alongside Uncommon Goods. So if you see somebody minting Diesel, they're also minting Uncommon Goods. Uncommon Goods is also a Rune token. So that's what's great. No matter what, everybody's using Runes, no matter how they're using it. If it's on a different meta protocol, Runes are being used. That's what's great about this. I love it. So here's my message to you and as a reminder. Now, people may think that Dog and Runes are non-monetary, but let me be very clear. Dog and Runes are monetary assets on Bitcoin. Money is simply an asset people choose to store, transfer, and exchange value with. DOG is a native Bitcoin monetary asset because it's scarce, it's a fungible token, it's transferable, and it's secured by the Bitcoin network itself. You cannot inflate the supply of DOG. It's always set at 100 billion DOG tokens. Every DOG transaction also consumes a Bitcoin block space without UTX bloating and pays miner fees in Bitcoin, so miners love DOG. It strengthens Bitcoin's security budget while expanding the native asset economy. Bitcoin isn't just one asset anymore. It's becoming that economy. Now, I do want to keep everybody informed that, remember that Binance/Gate.io wallet that, has been recycling funds back and forth within the Gate.io exchange itself? And remember, it just came back alive in June and July. Well, guess what? Over the past 6 days, it accumulated its 89 million DOG tokens. Remember, this keeps falling back and forth. It recycles over and over and accumulated 89 million more in the past 6 days. So just keep that in mind, because when I look into the chart and we're seeing suspicious activity of DOG being at the 60 million range, which is roughly right around here, you can see that it's been tapping this for 54 days. We're almost close to 2 months. Now, I will let you know, and this is the truth, this is the longest time we've ever seen DOG trade sideways at a support level at around 60 million market cap. This has never occurred in DOG's history. Most likely, whenever we see DOG's price, it either goes sharply down or sharply up, and that's it. It never really trades sideways, but it's been doing this for 54 days. And that's why you're seeing within this range right over here, you see where that start is with the 54 days. You can see that there's a reversal of the MACD's blue and orange line, and it started to pull upwards. It's because there's not a lot of selling pressure. There's not a lot of buying pressure. It's just waiting for the next catalyst event. And to me, the selling pressure, the selling exhaustion has really met its max. And now we're ready for the buying part. So when I look at the weekly time frame, the blue and orange line within the weekly time frame are still trending upwards. Eventually it has to break out. Eventually. And so this is what we're kind of waiting for on the sidelines. So that's everything in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. We just explained why this could be very interesting for DOG expanding over to the Litecoin network with EVM compatibility, and it just allows for people to build and support for runes and ordinals across different chains. New audiences equals new liquidity. New investors equal broader expansion. But also, you're just seeing how Michael Saylor is advocating for runes and also ordinals, and anybody building on top of Bitcoin, making it completely like a free market. How BIP 110 is actually promoting runes and ordinals, specifically DOG. You can see that Real Vision captured it and Raul Paul's company captured it. It's absolutely bullish. So why are you not buying DOG right now? I'm buying DOG right now. I'm super excited. So with that said, I want to thank all of our donors for this channel. These are the reasons why we make videos on a day-to-day basis. So I want to give a huge shout out to the donors. You guys are keeping these channels alive and the research alive on a daily basis for the next 2 years. So by supporting this channel, please smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding DOG and Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.